Hello, everybody, and welcome to number 21 with Janet and myself. Hi, Janet.
Hi, Jill. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
It's great to see you.
I am so glad that we did last week's message. The whole thing about grief and loss and everybody, the timing is just so perfect. And I heard that from people, and I felt it myself in my own ways. But anyway, I'm ready to march on to number 21, and I can't wait to see what we do in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the same feedback and it's great. It's great that we can really support people and ourselves and
Mhm.
everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Right. I do have an idea.
Yay. What is it?
They tend to visit me in the morning, so we'll see how this one goes. So, what was on my heart this morning was what do we do? How are we when things get tough,
Mm.
right? And does that need to shift? And I know you that have listened to this podcast and know me that kind of my mission or my what I do here is stay on the cutting edge of things.
Mhm.
And I want to just say that the intensity level that I'm experiencing right now is really high. And it's not in the same way that it's always been,
Mhm.
and it's really high.
Yeah.
And those of you that follow Schumann resonance, those of you that know there's an eclipse coming up, and when this becomes public, it will have already happened. We've got equinox, and then we've got another eclipse. So those of you that follow things in that way, you'll be like, uh-huh. and and so I think it would be helpful to talk about how we respond, how we are, how we allow ourselves to be here in hopefully ways that are so suitable and kind of are appropriate for
Yeah.
what's happening within and without.
That's so big.
And I would really, Jill, love
Yeah.
for you to start this one.
Okay, I'll do this. I'll start this one. What a great topic. And there is a natural part of me that okay, I'll just give possibly a silly example. And we kind of touched on it just lightly, I think, in number 19, or 20, number 20. That when there are kind of these stereotypical, like, oh, this is hard, this is the way everybody does it. And my silly, very pedestrian example is teaching a child how to drive a car, the driver's training thing. And there's so many memes and all these things about the parent absolutely freaking out and screaming and panicking, and I remember seeing that kind of stuff going, well, my parents never did that. I'm not going to do that. I mean, how dumb. I mean, how is that hopeful? I mean, there's this repulsion I have towards like the expected, especially when it's low level. I'm like, come on, people, we can do better. I want to do better. So it could be interesting if people don't have that inclination to take something that is hard, and maybe it is eclipse type energies. I didn't know there were eclipses, so I was one of the ones that was like, oh really? I mean, I'm just so clueless in things like that because it's just not part of my thing, it's not part of my process, it's not. So I love it when it is other people's, because then if I am feeling some intensity, I'm like, oh well, that's good to know. you know so with eclipses or Mercury retrograde, you hear different things about, oh, everybody's going to freak out. Oh, communication is going to be the worst. That same inclination comes up within me of, well, how do I want to do it? Right. So I just invite somebody that maybe doesn't have that natural inclination to, and this is such a great theme to so many of the other podcasts that we've shared. How do you want to do that? And it could be a way that you've never been before, but you're just so fascinated and curious about the possibilities of you creating a new version of you that you like better. And it isn't about finding it, it is about experimentation. I highly recommend curiosity. How else could I be me? in the midst of that situation, training your, driver's training for a child or grandchild, um, menopause. I mean, anything, right? Tax bill, certain elected officials getting in office, and just like, well, I can't handle this. I'm like, but can you though? You know what I mean? We all can easily identify examples of things that would trigger us or set us on edge, where we don't want to lose who and what we are and what we love the most about us. Stay curious, be experimental, recognize the patterns you normally have and the intentions and inclinations, tend just patterns, habits, like, oh, this is where I do this. But do I want to do that right now? Do I want to freak out? Do I want to get passive aggressive? What do you really want? Because you have authority. So using that is such a better way to be. It feels better. You'll surprise other people in a great way. It's kind of fun to surprise kids or other loved ones or neighbors or best friends, even when they're like, oh, this is, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is when they lose their shit and you don't. And you're just like, well, this is disappointing. And they're just like, wait, what did you just say? And they're sort of like on the edge of their seat, waiting to see what you are next. That's fun. It's fun to be unpredictable in a good way. Anyway, that's my start.
I love what you're saying. Yeah, there's a friend of mine, I was talking with her, and there's this hard idea. I was like, "Oh, it's so hard. Oh, it's so hard." And I have in my personal life and with others began to question that some time ago because it doesn't make sense to live a hard life. And this is not to deny any difficulty that anybody is going through or has gone through. I'm a realist at heart, right? So she said that recently. She said, it's hard. I said, is it hard or is it just intense and emotional?
Great reframe.
Right? And she paused and she said, "Yeah, I hear you."
Yeah.
And so, even with those triggers, the way, triggers are simply patterns based on things that have happened in the past, right?
Mhm.
And we are not married to those.
Mhm.
We do not have to stay in those patterns. And so this is where that realism really comes into play, where we get to have that level of awareness first that, wow, I have freaked out 5,382 times in this particular way. And I think it's time for a change today. And sometimes that requires putting on big girl or big boy pants and breathing a little deeper or pinching myself or, whatever our particular thing is. And sometimes just that acknowledgement, it's like, wow, I think it's time for a change.
So big. I know I know for myself, part of the part of the barrier to getting to a version of me that could be curious about, well, what's another way to handle this? I mean, because I don't like that Jill that does this and then that when whatever, happens. Part of the first step that I had to have was the literal willingness, and I would say even courage, to be honest with myself about just how much I disliked those versions of me. Maybe it doesn't even matter about who else was like, oh God, I hate it when you get like this. You know what I mean? I didn't like it, right? So that does take a level of vulnerability. It doesn't take training though. It's just like honesty of, you know what? I don't like it when I say those things. I don't like those thoughts in my head. I don't like being in this when I am that,
Hmm.
right? So there's a step I think there of acknowledgement that when you are animating that version of yourself going, I really don't like this version of me. And there it's just a lot of humility and just going, damn it, you know? And you don't have to hate it. You don't have to be hard on yourself. I think I'm just inviting people to acknowledge it and then just go, well, fudge. You know what I mean? Ugh, yuck, you know? And that way we can be more self reflective and self aware, which I would put as a step one. And then step two is, well, what else do I want to try? Because that's probably whatever pattern that is that sets off that less likable version of you, it's probably going to keep coming up in your life. Not because it has to, not because you need a lesson or this is cool or anything like that, just because this is life and this is this reality. So then when that pattern, whatever it is, comes up again, you can go, oh yeah, this is where I normally do this. And now I'm more self aware and I'm going to go, oh, yep, I'm about to let those words and those thoughts take action in my body. But I'm just going to go, or am I? What else do I want to say? What else do I want to do? What are all the other choices I can think of right now? Now that I have more authority over myself, I'm more aware of myself, and I recognize I have other choices.
Yeah, that lack of judgment,
Hmm.
and even recognizing that I'm judging it, that's another level of honesty. 'Cause that self-judgment and judgment of others isn't helpful either in the if it's not discernment, if it's true judgment, like power imbalance, putting some like, that's not helpful either. But there's how, how I have been my own worst enemy in that way, just recognizing that, and that can be kind of the glue or the thing that holds something in track.
Mhm.
And so that's, um, really, really helpful to notice. The other thing I wanted to say is there are some great positive models that I've had in my life
Mhm.
where I have witnessed people that have, and I know have been seriously triggered because usually I feel it. So I'm not talking about not being authentic. I'm talking about being fully present and watching their response and a level it's kind of like compassion and sincerity and love. They just lean into that more
Mm.
and breathe through whatever level or layer or stuff that's happening and allow that love to be bigger, and it just kinda melts everything or bridges that experience so that they don't respond in a way that perhaps I've even seen them behave negatively before. And so we do have positive role models, and there's some really great people that I have learned so much from, and you're one of them. I pay attention to your
Oh,
responses
thank
to things,
you.
and I was like, "Wow, I'm taking some Jill, I'm gonna put some of that in my back pocket, that Jill type of
Oh,
response."
sweet. I'm so flattered.
You know what I mean? I mean,
I
that's
try
what
to
we
be
do.
pretty transparent with what's worked. I know the before, I know the during, I know the after, and I know the stuff's still in process. And it is I get encouraged by it. And I'm so glad to hear that it is encouraging and useful, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's great to hear, Janet. And I love that you've had examples. I'm sure I have too. My mom on big topics, especially. My dad's amazing of as well. But my mom has had different other sort of just things that she's naturally good at that I'm like, that's a good thing to be good at. You know what I mean? I'm observing, you know what I mean? And so where people don't have their own ideas, I think one of the things I hear you saying is it's sort of the like, what would Jesus do? Or what would whoever else that is in your kind of like all-star team, what would so and so do? And this that they are more savvy at this than I am. What would they do? And I do feel like through the energetic godly grid that we all are, you
Yeah,
may have an instant knowing of what you want to try next,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I agree, and when we kinda pause and take that extra breath or that extra moment, because it doesn't take long a lot of times, and that pause can get greater, and eventually, I can just move on to something else without even it's like, "Oh, there's that old place," and then eventually it just disappears completely.
Mm,
And I had a friend, and we sort of really disagreed on this. She's like, "That's always gonna be there."
mm,
At first, I didn't say anything to her, but the more we talked, I thought, I gotta speak up here. Like
okay.
that pattern, I do not believe that that pattern has to be with me the rest of my life.
That's
Like
good, Janet.
my God or consciousness or all that is way bigger than that.
Okay, I might be playing devil's advocate a little bit here, but I totally see what you're saying, and I think I do identify more with your friend. And we might be saying the same thing, but in different ways. It's not that my God consciousness isn't bigger than whatever that little less likable pattern is. It's that I know in my experience anyway, some of those little patterns, I do call them my little Jills. I am one cohesive system and integrated and very self-aware and like, whoa, that little Jill, like, hang on, you're not allowed to touch the keyboard. You just stay right here under my arm and I'll give you a big lovey and go, it's okay. I know you feel insulted or offended or you have something to say, but I love you and just hang on. It's okay. Let's go play Sudoku. You know what I mean? So for me, those little Jills, those little patterns, they do crop up. So there are many aspects of myself that I do find kind of cropping up unexpectedly that haven't gone away. So for some people that maybe it's just a difference that for you they maybe some people are more like you and they're like, yeah, I don't even think about it anymore. For me, it definitely takes less effort, and I do actually find it now kind of funny in a very just I would much prefer to laugh than to cry or to scream, and I'll sort of giggle when I feel those little patterns of my Jill, and I literally I think could do stand up comedy about some of these little Jills because they are I can make them hilarious. They are hilarious, and people do identify with them. So I won't uh, pain anyone here through them. But when I notice them, I'm like, oh, you, okay, right? But there, again, it starts with that awareness.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting it to go away. Maybe I am missing an opportunity there. So thank you for outlining that maybe they can go away, and I'm not letting them go. I don't know what the answer is there, but for those that it's going away, I'm so happy for you. And for those that it isn't, I have other strategies that can also work where it doesn't take you over in a I don't have any other choices. This is just what I do. And I really encourage people don't give an excuse. I mean, the whole like, well, I'm a Leo, that's what I do. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, we are bigger than that. To use Janet's term, we're way bigger than our sign or my dad was that way or this is because of this trauma or whatever. You're giving a lot of authority to whatever reason you're giving it. And
Yeah.
you're really denying yourself the authority that you deserve, that you are bigger than any of those reasons. And you have far more creativity and sovereignty to create another version of yourself in spite of those things being true, right? My sun sign is a Pisces. I'm supposed to fall apart and, be all like overly charming and all these things. And sometimes I'm just like, well, that sucks. And I'm not a puddle on the floor. Sometimes I am, but most of the time I'm not. Yeah.
I wanna go back and I wanna workshop this a little bit because I think this might be might be helpful for people. It's certainly helpful for me to kind of learn how to differentiate this idea of our inner children.
Mhm.
So, there's kind of those responses because I throw temper tantrums. I do, and I recognize when I have them. I have anger outbursts. I do. I recognize when I have them. And I think what the so there's 2 points I wanna make here, just in my own experience and working with others. My response to those is what really changes,
Mm.
and that does go away, and that not always, I can sometimes if the sun and the moon are aligned in a certain way, haha, right? In certain circumstances, I might still have the old response, but for the most part, gone. Like my 99.9% way of responding in that old way is gone. And so that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is my experience of those inner children is that, and not in all cases, but they did not get what was needed in the regular developmental cycle. And so what happens is they get to heal. And that kind of reactionary, inner child reactionary state can be due to some lack that happened. And I got no blame about this. We're on planet Earth, right? I'm just trying to point out some ideas that might be helpful to some people because it's been life changing for me to recognize that, because that's another level of honesty. Where when my neurological system was overstressed at some part in my developmental cycle,
Mm,
that created some level of response and acting out where that part can heal in my inner child.
mhm,
And when that happens, that's a game changer. Then that level of natural playfulness, that level of development, which has really affected my neurological system and my brain in a very deep way. Because now I'm getting to kind of heal those parts of my brain or become whole, whatever word you want to use, be more of my truly organic, full on divine human being, which is one of the things that I just love, right? That's what I've been working on for a long time. So, I hope those ideas can be helpful to people because that just takes the judgment out of why I might be behaving in a certain way. And again, no excuses. This is just a deeper understanding for options,
yeah,
because we all want to have the best experience we can here,
yeah.
and kindness with ourselves and all of it.
Gentleness, compassion, yeah, all of that.
Mhm.
That's so important. I like that the overall umbrella is, when things get hard, sort of what to do, right? And what choices we have. This is such a wonderful topic for today. Also, underneath that umbrella is sometimes when I am working with somebody or just, in my everyday life and in the world, I'll hear someone just sort of sharing something about something was hard or, and they thought something, but they didn't say it to the other person, right? Maybe it was an uncomfortable situation or just a really hard situation. And they're like, well, I was thinking this, but of course I didn't say it. And they describe it in a way that they may as well have said it because whomever they were in that interaction with seemed to know what they were thinking.
Mm,
Okay. This happens in conversations with people that are not, into energy or, they don't know themselves as intuitive. They don't know the other person as intuitive. They're not trained, they don't, they're not operating at this width, right? Consciously. So these can be everyday people. And I, what I normally feel led to remind people of is please don't underestimate the powerful directness of your thoughts, no matter what you think you're saying, and no matter what you think you are protecting within yourself. It is when somebody doesn't like you,
mm,
or when somebody is mad at you, or they're hurt by you, or they can feel you just being super critical of what they're doing. I would really just encourage people to consider it's as if you're saying it, right? And I mean, you guys, that was such a huge wake up call for me because I do have a very analytical brain that can be very almost clinical, like zero bedside manner kind of clinical, just really blunt and harsh.
mm,
And it's not thoughtless, it's almost like too much thought, right? So when I realized as a very young mother, I mean, I was a mature woman because I didn't have kids till 32 and 35, but just sort of this, reality hit of, oh my God, I think my kids, because that was when I did start to become more aware of the meta kind of aspect of everything. I was like, oh my God, what if my kids are like, can feel and almost know on some level all of my thoughts? And that it freaked me out because then I was like, I was so dedicated, Janet, to saying all the right things and in just the right words and all these things. And I was like, if there were more critical, actual thoughts that were going on that had all the right loving language about them, it didn't matter how perfect I thought my communication was. And literally, that was my impetus for I need to learn how to meditate. And that for me was a pathway to maybe just more loving thoughts, more compassion within my brain system that could still be analytical and logical, but also adding to it more loving, more understanding, better listening. Um, and for me, it worked. For me, it worked. And maybe I would recommend that we do another episode at some time on meditation and maybe different ways, unique perspectives of looking at it, because my breakthrough was pretty notable and maybe a good story. And it wasn't, I didn't do TM, transcendental meditation. A lot of people that are trying really hard to get good at that kind of stuff, I don't think that ever would have worked for me. And for whatever reason, I never even tried them. Anyway, so that was a big process for me to, it wasn't about controlling my thoughts or trying to empty my brain. It was about creating another rhythm between the loving, caring mother I knew myself to be with the rhythm of my brain and how it had been working. And it worked. It for me it worked, and this still is so much better. Yeah, not perfect, not trying to be. I'm more aware than that, but just I like being alone with my thoughts. My thoughts are so clear and not running me over, not owning me, that I feel very content and happy in my mind, body, spirit system.
Mhm.
And I know that's possible for everybody. Their version, yeah.
It is. This is wow. I just wanna take a moment here. There's something about when we're out of sync. Wow, listen to my voice, wow.
Yeah, this is
When we're
good.
out of sync.
Oh,
Out of sync. Where are you out of sync? And this especially when things get tough.
yeah,
There's such an opportunity to get in sync
yeah.
because you're really right. Everybody is picking up energetically what's happening. And I have people that truly read minds. I do it too a lot of times, and I don't try. I just like, "Oh, really?" I could but I have friends that are very good at this, and it's just where they are in their life, right? There's nobody's better or worse. It just is true, right? So, and even if you're not that, everybody knows what it's like when somebody comes into the room and they got something going on. You can feel the energetics change. So we're all wired this way. This isn't some special thing. We are all wired this way. So in kids and my dog,
Mm,
if I'm saying one thing and I'm feeling another, it is not a good situation. And that's my opportunity. I think with kids, being real with them and helping them develop skills on how to be in the world is much more helpful than trying to be the perfect parent, right? Because there's no such thing. Right? So when I'm honest about that and can say, "Ooh, I'm upset," and even with my dog, I mean, I had a day, I don't know when it was, but I was, wow. And I said, "Gracie, this is not about you. I am really struggling right now,
mm,
and please don't take this on as personal." and I'm not directing this at you, and I really need to be present to it. And I know you have needs. I know I have to take you out to use the bathroom outside. I know I need to do this, and I'm just a little rough around the edges today. And it doesn't mean I don't love you.
Oh, that last part. It's so perfect.
So we all, I mean, I feel emotional even saying it, but that's the
Yeah.
reality of how
Yeah.
we can be. And then Gracie has an opportunity to do whatever she's gonna do with that, and our kids have an opportunity to do. It's like, wow. Because kids know that's one of the most challenging things I know for me growing up as a sensitive being. When somebody's telling me this and I feel this,
Mhm.
and kids get programmed or trained or entrained or whatever words you wanna use to say, "Oh, no, no," to not pay attention, to not honor what they know and how they feel, and
Yeah.
to cover that up. So this this is what we're talking about,
Yeah.
and even as adults, we try it, and kids that haven't learned that yet, they're like, "Mommy, that's not true. Like, why are you saying that?" Until that gets shut down because they will call you on everything.
Or not, and that's a different form of training or response. That's I would, in my opinion, less healthy, right? You're training them to suppress and all those things. As you're talking about this, the bluntness of my Jill is coming up, that for people that think you're hiding what you're really thinking or really feeling, I would just the blunt takeaway is you're not. You think you are, but you're not. And I can guarantee you it's harming your relationships, personally, professionally, your relationship with yourself. If that's not a motivation to kind of let yourself unbutton the petticoat a little bit and just go, okay, where am I pretending here? Right? I do. It's a very quick story, but I have to tell the story because it definitely, with what you're saying about kids. And I would add that it's not just kids. And I don't hear you saying that literally, but I would just really encourage people. This is not just, this is anyone. And you included animals in this. And I agree with that too. I was in Seattle visiting my sister, and the kids were little. So she has a daughter that's just like 9 months older than my oldest child. So V was in their little, booster seat or car seat. I think it still was the car seat with the buckles and everything. So maybe 3 years old. And we had just gotten food or something like that, and V spilled it like all over themselves. And it was a mess. And we were in Chris's fancy Toyota Sequoia. And I was just like, and I was in that pretending I was the perfect mom mode, and literally for at least a year, it was probably pretty disgusting, but I was a really good faker. And I was like, "It's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be all right." And it was so funny because V, this was she may have only been 2, a little bit over 2, and she said, "You're not okay. You're mad." And she just like almost screamed it. And my sister's driving the car. We're in downtown Seattle. And Chris just looks at me and she's like, "Oh, you just got fed." And I'm just like, okay. Yeah. And this is so me. At the era of that Jill, it was like, okay, you're correct. I am thinking about Chrissy's car, and you are a mess right now, and we were gonna go to the children's museum. I was just such a stupid caricature of whatever bullshit that was. But the fact that she was just like, she exploded. She was like, "You're not fine. You're mad." And I just remember looking back at her adorable, just beautiful face, those huge blue eyes, just like, I'm not taking it right now because I'm mad too that this just happened, and I don't want you to pretend you're fine because I don't want to be fine. This is a mess. Anyway, it was just such a real moment, and I don't remember how long it took me to kind of just be more real and honest with myself. But in another version of me, I would have gone, "Oh, that totally sucks, babe. We're gonna." it's we're gonna make this okay. But I would never yell at her. I mean, that still is a lot of self because I'm mad at the situation. She wasn't intentionally meaning, there was no malicious, it just shit happens. It's okay.
Yeah.
But pretending that I was all just like, okay, can I keep going on a different kind of layer of this? Because
Yeah.
it is gonna feel like a left kind of turn to the left jerky moment for a second. This happens a lot with people in high demand religions and cult like experiences, or, I'm in a very high predominant Mormon community. There's a lot of that fakeness in
Mm,
some of those cultures. And I have a love for people of all faiths. I have very strong opinions about certain faith based ideologies and the theology and the philosophy and how it affects its believers. Okay, I just want to say that. The level of fakeness and disconnection
mm,
with themselves and pretending I can observe and feel is heartbreaking,
mm,
right? Because it takes so much energy. And I know my little version of that. It takes so much energy to pretend it's all fine and God's great and nothing bad ever happens here. And God is just like, God's as fake and happy as you are, right? God doesn't get sad. God gets mad, but God never gets sad. You know what I mean? It's just like, who are we kidding? Because sad and difficult shit happens here every day. Somebody's being born and somebody's dying. Somebody's getting news that they're pregnant and they've been waiting for years, and somebody gets a cancer diagnosis. It's just a fucked up place here, right? So it is difficult. It's difficult for everybody to pretend that because you have certain beliefs or because you follow a certain path to God, that no shit happens in your life and it's all good is such absolute horseshit. And to those that are under that kind of spell, I'm sad for them because they're missing out on the best part of God that is there for us when life is the hardest. And He is sad with us and is pissed with us and saying, damn it, love you. All I want to do is love you. That to me is a real God. I don't even want to know a God that would be like, are you getting upset that someone got cancer? Are you getting upset that someone miscarried? Because that's not in the book. You're supposed to be grateful and feel blessed with everything going on there. That's the training, that's the memo, that's to pat to me. Whatever. F that. Sorry if that was, oh God, we just have blunt, Jill. Right there. Zero bedside manner.
why Oh, that's funny. Bedside manner can be completely overrated sometimes, but, I prefer realness always and heart always. I, thank you for sharing all that, and I wanna invite a call to action for
Hmm.
people, which is a call to your internalness and a call to honoring the God that you are and the feelings that God has given us here, how we are designed as human beings. That's the call to action.
Yeah.
And if anything in our world doesn't allow us to be that, and I'm talking about with honor and respect, not taking it out on somebody, but really allowing our full expression. If anything bumps up about that, in that
Hmm.
in the way that you have available to you that can be the most effective, that is driven by that level of unconditional love. Unconditional love is not always soft in the way that we think it should be. Sometimes unconditional love can feel big and harsh and WTF.
Mama bear too.
Mama bear, papa bear, the whole bear family gets involved.
Like lions, all the predators.
So, call to action, I say, and that includes in religious communities, whether it's Mormon or Catholicism. The
New
personally,
ageism even,
New
yeah.
Ageism and spirituality, all of it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm feeling all those institutions, the pressure, and I'm
Mhm.
kind of watching in sort of the energetic way and the things that I work with on our in our planetary consciousness, I'll say. There are big changes afoot, and I love that. And I will stand by anybody that has any sort of response whatsoever and support you in being who you are. That's the point. That's the full human experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so big. So, on what you just said, and it's part of the topic that I was introducing, just really being open to showing yourself in terms of a call to action. Be open to you showing you where you are hiding layers of you. And really it's a pretend game because you're really not hiding them. Anyone paying attention, it's on the front of your store, people. But you think you're hiding it. No, that's in the back closet. Nobody even knows that closet's there. I'm good. I'm good. I'm so good. And anyone paying attention is like, that's the part that like you're playing a game with yourself, right? Maybe you're fooling some people, but you're not fooling the people that probably matter the most to you. So, and we've talked a little bit about this before, but it feels so appropriate to add it again here, Janet. When we are not authentic with ourselves, you are giving your loved ones a job of pretending with you. Okay? So if you are pretending you're not disappointed, sad, angry, mad, whatever you're pretending, you are asking them to pretend with you. And if they are actually seeing that you are sad or mad or scared or whatever, you're asking them to be fake with your fakeness. So you're giving them a job you probably don't want to be giving them without even realizing it. So this is a huge opportunity to go, oh, shit. Am I pretending that everything is okay or that everything's going to be fine? I'm missing out on a huge part of me, and I'm also missing out on a huge part of them. And I don't think you want that. You're also missing out in an even bigger way on a huge part of God because God can handle all of it, right? God, you're not hiding anything from God. I mean, that's hilarious to even think about that, right? And since you are inherently part of the fabric of God energy, that should make it easier for you to be more aware of, okay, what's really going on here.
I wanna add a little about the perspective of the one that's present to the pretender. Because there's so many choices here, and this is where I'm often surprised by what comes out of my mouth in a good way. In a
Can't wait.
good way, in a
Because you
good
have some I've actually experienced some of your when I was yeah, there was a recent situation. We got a new dog last June who has been she's adorable, don't get me wrong, but oh my god, this girl. I mean, I can't even. And Janet just kind of listened to me go, she goes, she went out on the ice on the pond. She can't swim. I mean, we've never needed a fence for the pond with any other dog we've had. What is wrong with this girl? And Janet just listened. And then all of a sudden, as I finally shut up, you just laid out the most beautiful wisdom and loving insights and totally different perspective of, and you almost gave me a path for a different version of my Jill and how I could be reacting and responding, because I was fighting the fact that this dog was even here. That's what was happening in our lives. I didn't pick her, Jeff picked her. I'm a better dog picker, all of this bullshit. It was so ridiculous. And I'm just like, "Well, we could send her back." I'm embarrassed to say that, but that was basically my attitude. We don't have to have her here. I can help find a great home for this girl, but she doesn't have to be here. Let's be honest, right? She's a lot of work. Um, and I've never had a dog that needed therapy before, but this girl. Anyway, so I've seen you do what you're about to do right now, and I can't wait to see how you describe it,
Oh
because
my
I
gosh.
personally benefited, and literally I walked out of this office after you and I just having a chat after we're recording, and I'm like, I looked at that sweet, beautiful, purebred German Shepherd, and it was like my heart was right here where it was supposed to be,
Oh,
related to her, and I was like, "Hey, Dakota." She changed, I changed, everything changed.
oh,
So, anyway, I apologize.
oh, no,
No, we're
right
trying to
here.
wrap up here, and you take
Oh,
the entire rest of the time.
this is actually a perfect sentiment to end on.
Mm, it
What
is
you just said about having my heart right here.
right here.
That's what we're talking about, because if somebody is pretending with me and my heart is right here, that's my godliness, that's my
Yeah.
superpowers, that's my vulnerability, that changes reality.
Mm.
And because I'm not pretending what I see, you can pretend. But when I sit there with my heart right here, I'm not pretending.
That's so big.
And that changes everything. What you just described is
Mm.
the perfect example of how we can transcend things and how the pretenders in our lives, they can still pretend for the rest of their lives, but I'm not pretending, I'm loving, and I'm offering that. And that opens the doorways, that opens the channels, always.
It's not that you refused to jump into the pylon of the challenges of Dakota. It's that you were unwilling to go there with me. So
Mm,
you chose to listen and be a great friend in that way, while also offering in a very non-threatening. I felt zero defensiveness, at least, well, maybe a tiny bit of defensiveness at times, but I there was a part of me going, "You want this. Listen, receive what she is saying to you, what
mhm,
she's offering you." So I guess if I were to add another version of what you were just saying, it's for those of us that observe the fakeness, the phoniness, etc. You don't have to pretend with them.
mhm,
There are ways to be loving and non-critical and present in what you are actually observing or sensing in what they are. You gave a perfect example, Janet. Another example is if somebody is having a difficult time. I'm trying to think of a good example because I don't want to pick the worst ones, but their car broke down or whatever. And I'm like, well, I guess it's because of Mercury retrograde. So, how are you going to handle it today? Right? Your heart's here. You're helping them be more proactive about what's going on. They have a car that needs attention or whatever. Did you call an Uber? Just really helping, almost like redirect them, because they're pretending. I would say, or at least their storyline is, there's nothing they can do because Mercury retrograde would have caused this to happen anyway. Anyway, just it's kind of a silly example. I guess a better example is if somebody is like, well, I guess God wanted this to happen and it's something more serious like a health crisis and you're like, it's okay to just be sad. It's okay to be mad that this is going on. That's okay. With me, it's okay to also be sad or mad or whatever else you're feeling. And that relates perfectly to number 20.
Mhm. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really does. And with that level of presence, it things are just, I wanna say more efficient, but I don't mean that in a productivity sorta way. I hope everybody understands what I'm saying with that,
Well,
but
it takes less energy. That I think, can I add that, right? In
yes,
terms
yes,
of we're all consuming energy in our lives and in our living, right? What do
yeah,
you want to use that energy for? Do you want to
yeah.
use it for pretending? I don't. There are some social, societal kind of things that you wanna right? Somebody asked how I was doing today, and there's something going on in my personal life, and I just said, "I'm good, how are you?" Right? Is that fake? Yes, but he's the painter working on my house today, you know what I mean? So, I feel okay with that there, right? When my mom calls and says, "How you doing today?" I'm like, "Oh, how are you doing?" "Yeah, I'm doing better today, but yesterday sucked." You know what I mean? Whatever. Anyway. It's okay.
And that's a great reminder too. We've talked about this, about choice points, about who's close in my reality and who isn't. And I'm the gatekeeper of that. And that is about how I use my energy and what my choices are actively.
Mhm.
And that's very important for energy management, for well-being, for I could list a whole a whole bunch of reasons for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Oh
good.
gosh.
Oh, Janet, thank you for today. Thank you for teeing up such a great topic, and it goes so well. I love how we do have this wonderful sort of, like, collection of related pieces that stand on their own, but also fit so well with some of the other episodes that we've done. So, yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, everybody. Yes.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. If you like this one, thank you for commenting and dropping even a little note. Just thanks or whatever means a lot to us. Or if you're on our website, send an email, a contact form on the website, just saying, "Hey, thanks, loving the podcast." It's encouraging for us, and I know I like encouragement. Janet, do you like encouragement?
I do, and I what I love about it too, the comments, I feel it's a heart connection that I get to have with people,
Mm,
and that I really love because they're taking the time to share part of their experience of who they are, and that is just beautiful. So I love the comments. I love encouragement. I do. I really, really I treasure it really because it's a beautiful interaction, which I love that.
and we're doing this because we hope it makes a difference.
Yeah.
We're doing this because we hope it helps people feel closer to their godliness and closer to the godliness in others and closer to source energy and the love that's available to all of us from ourselves as source energy in this world. I guess that's how I would articulate our main goal. But anyway, thanks everybody. Love you, Janet.
Love you too. Bye
Okay.
for now.
Bye.